All right, we're back on the death lineup. The 4-1 Warriors start their season. The last time we chatted was after the Warriors lost to Phoenix. And I don't know what you thought after that game, but I kind of thought, like, as much as this team has changed, I'm not sure what has actually changed. And then the next 4 games, they showed how different they were or currently are from last season's game. So how satisfied with the start are you, or do you still think that they have a lot of work to do?
I'm really satisfied with the start, but I also think they have a lot to work to do. I went on the teams. What I would do during the playoffs last year is I'd go to like the lineups and I'd cue who the best lineups are. Or during the season last year, I would go to the stats homepage and start filtering on who has the most 3-pointers made or defensive rebound or assist, and just see what statistics the Warriors were leading at. And we're like 8th to 10th in like almost all of them. So I think that's where I'm coming from, where it's like, I think on the eye test, I want to see some more work. Like, I feel like you could tell that they're maybe not the best rebounding team versus how even the Kings looked against us with Sabonis against Dre and Loon. It felt like they were getting a lot of second chance opportunities. But, since we last recorded, they've won 4 straight games. So I'm not going to be all down on them. I think a lot of what we saw in preseason, where it's like, okay, you could see how it works with CP. All right, now that's totally what we see on the court. Like, it looks like it works. Everything makes sense. I understand what they were going for. With Saric, I think in the preseason you saw the vision, but in that first Suns game, it was like, ooh, he's doing way too much. And then in the second game and the third game, kind of felt like the same thing. I think it was the Pelicans game where it was finally like, okay. And even this past Kings game where he had like 3 3-pointers, it's like, okay, this is what we saw in preseason. Yep. This is why the fit makes sense. And, I think they are on the right path here. I mean, you go up and down the roster. We could say a nice little tidbit about everyone with Kuminga and Moody on how much it feels like they've stepped up and they feel like you have to play them. GP2 has come out to an insane start to the year of just, what's his field goal percentage? Like, what has he missed? Like, he barely misses.
Only misses threes.
Even then, he's been hitting them lately. So, yeah, I think there's a lot to look good at. But then when it comes to we have a test with Denver coming up. Really interested to see if Denver's fully healthy, how that looks against us. And, just trying to compare ourselves. If we're 4-1, might as well compare yourselves against the best of the best. And, that's not Dallas at 4-0. They are a fraudulent 4-0, but that's if I cue by wins here, it's Boston, it's Denver, the ones we thought. Those are what probably everyone's finals predictions are, or most of people's finals predictions. So I think we still got some work to do, but there's the thing that's nice about us is I feel like we're not set. We're not limited. Like with some of the other teams, like Denver coming back, like, do they have another gear, or did we see everything that the best they can be? And the best they could be is really good. The best they could be is a championship contender. But for us, it's like we've incorporated this whole new dimension to our offense, this 6th guy, this maybe our 4th best player, 3rd best player, whatever you want to name it. We're still trying to figure that out. We still have Jonathan and Kuminga and Moses Moody that are not set players. They are getting better. So I feel like we have a lot to improve and a lot that you can bet on improving. Whereas in some of these teams, it's like, okay, they've kind of hit their limit, that the best they could do together,
They pulled away from the Pelicans thanks to Steph, but all of the other games have been pretty tight as you get down to the end. And Sacramento game on Wednesday night, they probably should have lost that game based on how they were playing. But Sacramento without De'Aaron Fox, Sacramento also kind of played pretty badly in that game. Nobody could shoot. You mentioned the offensive rebounds. The offensive rebounds is just because all they're doing is taking threes, and the Warriors, they benefit from that as well. They benefit from Looney tipping a rebound out and restarting the series. But I would like to, outside of that Pelicans game, I just don't sense that. And some of this could be just the 2 different units that they're still getting used to. But I would like to see them pull away a little bit with that first unit. And it seems, I don't know what the plus minus is for the units, but it seems like that starting unit, maybe it's getting Draymond back into gear, but that first team just does not seem to be really pulling away from teams like it did last year, right? Last year, it felt like they would pull away, and then the second team would let up. Now you have a strong second team, and it seems like the first team is not really pulling away.
Yeah. What is it like? They had one of like the best net ratings in that starting five unit out of any starting five.
I think the best before the playoffs or something.
I feel like it was the Kings. The Kings, I'm sure, had the best five just because of the offense. But yeah, I mean, we've both heard that starting five unit is like a top net rating unit. I don't have the net rating, but I do have the plus minus. So in total, they've played 31 minutes together, and they are a -3, which 31 minutes also matches the starting lineup, but sub in Chris Paul for Draymond when he was missing. That's a +7. So that lineup's doing better than the Draymond one, which I don't think I think we both don't think that'll last for long. We think that, Wiggins and Draymond, Wiggins getting back into the flow of things, Dre getting back into the flow of things, like that lineup's going to get better. But yeah, you even look at, like, if I do this by plus minus, you want to hear our best plus minus lineup? They have played 10 minutes together, so maybe not that large of a sample size, but it's Chris Paul, Klay Thompson, Dario Saric, GP2, and Kuminga is +16.
That's interesting. Saric is been terrific as a backup center, as the backup five. But he and Looney have the same hands. What's going on? You pass it to them. You like any sort of like he could probably have, I don't know what his scoring average is right now, but give him another 6 points per game. And those are all based on him not being able to catch the ball correctly and just lay the ball in, because Steph attracts so many people. And same with Looney. All he has to do is really just dump it off, and those guys just got to be ready to catch and immediately go up. But that, for whatever reason, that is not happening with him. And I guess I never really thought about that, because I always saw him more as somebody who's more from the outside. But yeah, that could be a problem. And it's already a problem with Looney in that they don't even pass it to Looney anymore unless he's wide open. So we'll see if that means anything. But ultimately, I think the whole key to that starting lineup is Andrew Wiggins, because he has not had a good game yet. I don't even think he's had what would be an average Andrew Wiggins game. He's been poor. I think the energy kind of came back in the last 2 games, but the energy in the first 3 games I thought was really poor. And some of this is for whatever reason, and this is what I don't get. And you tell me what you think about this. There are some guys who maybe play themselves into shape in training camp, but when he says stuff like, I'm not all the way back, or like, what is he talking about? Did he just take the whole summer off? Like,
yeah.
Was there an injury? Was he dealing with some stuff where he couldn't actually pick up a basketball? Because you would think that last year, after missing all that time, and maybe it is a family thing, maybe he is just so focused on family right now that he had to take that time off. But when somebody who's as terrific of an athlete as Andrew Wiggins, and who is, more likely than not a really good basketball player, when they come back and they're just like, yeah, I just don't got it, I'm not in shape. And I look at him and I go, well, he kind of looks in shape, but whatever the basketball reps or whatever, you think that he's just such a natural athlete, like he could just get back on the court and fall back in and be fine. But I don't know. There's something going on there with him where, for whatever reason, he's going to play himself back into shape.
Yeah, and like the past 2 plus minuses and all 82s, I feel like Slater has went on like a 30-second to 1 minute tangent about how Wiggs, missed, didn't play much basketball last year, and then he came back directly immediately for the playoffs, and then didn't play for Team Canada, and just like kind of just pointing at the lack of basketball for Wiggins in the past couple months. And I mean, that's what it looks like. I mean, he hasn't had good games. He's had like good quarters. I remember like the first quarter of that Sacramento game, the first Sacramento game was like, oh, Wiggs might be back. Nope. Good first quarter. But yeah, I mean, they need him on both sides of the court. And I feel like he hasn't had a good game by Wiggins standards on either side of the court yet.
All right. Well, let's hold on the talk of, I'm sure we'll talk about some other players, but let's talk about the in-season tournament game on Friday, because I was talking to Brad about the in-season tournament at the end of Thompson to Clark. So now he's interested, because I told him, I was like, yeah, they're stealing ideas from soccer. And so he likes these ideas. He says,
Hmm.
do the tournament games count also as part of the 82 game schedule, and the wins losses count towards our overall record? The answer is absolutely 100% positively yes. They count as normal regular season games and as in-season tournament games, all the same. So
But what about when they go to Vegas? Then it stops counting, right?
I think
Because then some teams
the
aren't
single
playing.
elimination ones, they
Don't count.
don't count.
Okay, that makes
Which,
sense.
though, let's say you're Denver, because I mean, to me, Denver, even though they got spanked a little bit the other night, they look like a machine.
Yeah.
Everything looks perfect with Denver. Let's say that they go all the way in this tournament, and what is it? Is it 2 or 3 extra games if you're to win the whole thing?
Oh,
Because you got
let's say
the
three.
how many pools are there, or groups? I guess, is it groups
There's
or
4
pools?
groups per conference.
Okay,
So
so
one team per each group gets to the next round, but then there's a wild card, as Richard Jefferson says. Don't forget about the
okay.
wild cards. And maybe one team gets a bye then. I bet the best team gets a bye, wild card play. So it's probably, oh, come on.
So I mean, I guess the question is, you know, if you're a team with championship aspirations, do you want those extra 3 games on your legs?
Yeah, probably not. But yeah, I mean, that's the issue they're facing, is how do you get these guys to be down to do this? You have to just hope that Denver's Peyton Watson or Julian Strother is on their knees begging Jokic to play because they want their extra $2 million that they're never going to get, that Joker is easily getting. I don't know. Yeah.
What if Joker's just like, hey guys, let's lose in pool play,
so I can go to Serbia and ride
and
my
I
horse.
will give you guys $500,000 each.
I feel like the first one, I feel like teams are going to want to go get, like, just to say they were the first ones to get it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just
There will be studies though, right? Because let's say Denver does win the in-season tournament, and then let's say they lose in the finals. Somebody is going to come up with the argument that maybe
they played 2
don't.
more games.
Yeah,
Jokic's shots were
right.
flat.
Yeah.
It's still going to happen.
So Brad says it looks like they're making the teams that don't make the knockout stage play each other to keep up with the same amount of games for everyone.
That'd be, I'd love to. Yeah, this is something that I should have just been prepared.
I'm going to look it up, because
Yeah.
the whole thing about this thing is, so I clicked on the Warriors website, and it said, all you need to know about this in-season tournament. I was like, okay, finally some more information on this. And I clicked on it, and I was like, there's no information. There's no extra information about what we need to know about this thing. So
I just think if you have to, like, explain it the way they're having to explain it, maybe it's just not the best approach to this. Like, they've spent so much marketing money with the Richard Jefferson 2-minute and 30-second commercial of explaining this. Like, maybe we shouldn't do this. I don't know. But what does it say online?
okay. Now this is where it's confusing. So Brad is actually right here.
What the heck?
Okay, so do the games count in the in-season tournament? And I'm using sportsnet.ca as the website, just because it was the first one that popped up. Yes, except the championship game. Every game in the tournament counts as one of the 82 regular season games that all teams will play this season. The reason the championship game doesn't count is that the teams in the matchup will end up playing 83 games, and it doesn't make sense standing-wise to have 2 teams playing one more game than the other 28 clubs. Teams got 80 game schedules over the summer. Games 81 and 82 will either be those crossover games on December 6th and December 8th, or the quarterfinals and semifinals. So what Brad is saying is that everybody will have to play some sort of version of the in-season tournament to get their games up to 82. Those might be the games where you're like, we don't really need to win this one. You know, the tournament is not, these don't really count in the tournament. We're going to be good, so we may not need this one game, and maybe they sit that. I don't know. It'll be interesting. My hope is that they just play it out and just sort of let the chips fall as they may and not get too strategic about, the rest and stuff. But, game 1 Friday against Oklahoma City, Shea's out already. So it's not like, Adam Silver is like, all right, guys, tournament starting, everyone's playing. They're like, nope, he's out, but the Warriors will be full staff.
Yeah, that's interesting because then it could come down to like, I didn't count the games of the schedule that we saw in like the summer, but I guess I didn't realize that there were only 80 and 2 were up for whenever the Vegas side of the bracket's happening. And then, that would make sense so that you can get rid of the like, hey, we made it this far. I mean, we're playing more games than everyone else. Like that kind of nixes the whole Denver thing that we were just discussing.
It is crazy though that us as hardcore NBA fans still are not 100% sure about how the schedule works when it comes to this. So we're going to have to live through it once to understand it. You know what? The last couple, so this the play-in has been around for what, 3 years now?
Yes.
Every time it comes around, I forget how it works. Like every year I have to go back and read through it and go, okay, that's how it works. So it's not something that has stuck with me 100% yet. So all right. So Brad did send us something. He said he wrote, teams that don't reach the knockout round will play 2 freshly scheduled games on December 6th and December 8th. The 4 teams that lose in the quarterfinals will face each other on December 8th. All teams will play 82 regular season games, with the 2 in-season finalists logging an 83rd game that will not count. So
I mean, I guess the only like this is like nitty gritty, like who cares, right? But like say the Lakers were like the best team in the league, and we ran into them again in the 1 game knockout round. Well, we're now playing them 5 times in the regular season as opposed to 4.
Yeah,
but that's just
okay. Now you know what they should give an award for. Like they should give a bonus, right? Like let's say there's an in-season tournament MVP. Let's say there's an in-season tournament, whatever award you want to give. If somebody plays 83 games this year, they should get a bonus. They should get some sort of thing for playing 83 games in the regular season.
Come on, Loon.
Yeah. I think that might be the chance right there is Loon. All 83. And then Slater's got to change the name of his podcast. Okay, so Friday the Warriors play, and then upcoming for it's going to be a pretty tough week as far as after this Friday, because they have the Cavs on Sunday, then they have the Pistons on Monday, so back to back. Cavs are always going to be spry because they're so athletic and they're so long. Pistons, we'll see about the Pistons. They're would you say that the Pistons are a little bit improved?
I say they look better, but
they got Cade.
They have Cade back, and we didn't have Steph, they didn't have Cade, and they beat us by 1. I think it was when we went to that game, the Sadiq Bey 3-pointer. They look better, but they have like real obvious flaws of like the lack of shooting. I mean, their full starting lineup has no shooters outside of Cade. So yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna be fun because last time we went, Jalen Duren killed us. You remember that? You were like, "Oh, this is gonna be one of those guys where he's just gonna play really well against the Warriors, and he's not 18 years old, so he's gonna be here forever." Yeah. Now, I mean, I think the interesting thing is like kind of bringing it back to the sack game on it was close without Fox. Like, do you think Fox not playing had a little bit to do with the Warriors like not getting up for the game? To say,
probably Steph for sure. I thought Steph was terrible. He just kept turning the ball over.
Yeah, I think the Kings get Draymond up now. Like I picked him on my sleeper app. I was like, all right, he's projected to get 18 points against the Kings. Hell no, pick the Kings. Like he had like a 40-point fantasy game. I think
he gets playing for Sabonis for sure.
Yeah,
and we were talking to your buddy who's a Kings fan last night, and of course, if you're a Kings fan, you hate Draymond because Draymond was kind of vicious with Sabonis last year. Though, Sabonis is not the innocent victim here. He was doing a lot of underhanded stuff as well, and Draymond kind of went overboard a little bit. But I was telling your buddy that, the thing that would have been better for Sabonis would be not to lay down and try and get technicals and try to get Draymond kicked out of the game. It would have been to jump up and get in his face and be like, I'm here. Like, you're not going to be able to intimidate me. And that didn't happen. So I feel like Draymond's got that mental edge on him. And not that I necessarily saw it too much last night, though I do think Draymond was able to get away with being pretty physical with him. But Sabonis was, I didn't sense that he was as aggressive as I expected him to be in this kind of like, oh, I want to show you that what you did last year does not affect me and I've improved my game. I didn't see any of that last night. I thought, he was okay. He's always going to get, rebound against the Warriors. He's got some really nifty moves down low. He's a really smart player, but I almost feel like they kind of took a little bit of the aggressiveness out of him. And I wonder if that comes back when they play, because now the Warriors are 2-0 against them. And not that winning the season series necessarily matters. There's still 2 more games left, I think. But, if you're coming down to it and both teams are pretty close in the playoff race and the Warriors hold this advantage over the Kings, the Warriors will want to see them in the playoffs again. And the Kings will be like, I'm not so sure about that one. So I think that stuff does matter in the regular season.
Yeah, and I was kind of pointing that out to say, like, I wonder if a similar thing with SGA is coming up, where it's like, okay, SGA is not playing. They might take their foot off the gas. They might not get up for this game. I think
he kills the Warriors. My gosh.
Yeah.
It's just mid-range. And then he's got 35 points, and we're like, how? Just nothing but mid-range.
I think if they don't come ready to like if they're not up for this game, I think OKC might take advantage of that early, even without SGA. Like, they have just a nice collection of players. Like, this is gonna be our first time that Chet's playing against us, and I feel like Chet's gonna absolutely kill us with kind of how Loon's not really that much moving on offense. I feel like that's just gonna be easy for Chet to hover.
How do you think they guard, though? I kind of feel like it could be a game for Wiggins to go out there and chase Chet around.
Wiggins chase Chet on offense?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. So they're going to probably start Case and Wallace, and then they'll have Lou Dort, J-Dub. Who am I forgetting? Josh Giddey. I don't know, man. I think Steph's probably going to guard Kaysen. Clay's probably going to guard. Clay can guard either Giddey or J-Dub. They're a little too slow, so I think Clay will be able to hang in.
You probably can't have Wiggins chase him around. Maybe that's a Draymond thing, though.
Yeah. I wasn't more so saying as much Chet on offense, but I think Chet on defense. He's just so long, and he's just going to be able to kind of hover off a loon and just disrupt everything.
Yeah, he'll probably stay on Steph's side of the floor as much as possible.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm just saying, like, if the Warriors are kind of like, SGA is not playing, easy W. I would.
Who starts when Shea doesn't play?
It's be Kaysen Wallace would be my guess. Okay. He's the rookie they just drafted. That I actually think his name's pronounced Kaysen Wallace. I just haven't heard. I need to confirm that. That's how Bill pronounces it.
Kaysen.
I think Kaysen.
And then obviously I think the matchup that is being circled at least by fans as well is this game against the Nuggets on Wednesday night, and then they see the Cavs again. Nuggets and the Warriors is going to be a really interesting matchup, because I think last year, the Warriors had, and we'll talk about this here in a second, which is the Draymond comment. The Warriors were just sort of in a funk all season long, and the Nuggets were the opposite. They were so cohesive. Everything was working for them. And so it's almost like, okay, well, let's take the 2021 template or the vibe of that 2021 team against the 2022 Nuggets, and let's really see how these teams match up. That's kind of how I look at it. Now, obviously not all of the same pieces, but some of the pieces that could work against the Nuggets. I think Saric will play a nice role, but that's the game that I want to see. And it's more of a measuring stick game to me. Like, how good are the Warriors right now? And can they turn it on when they need to turn it on against some of these good teams? I don't know. I feel like we should try and, we don't have to go live after Wednesday night, and we can just come back and do our normal Thursday. But if there was a game to go live, that might be it. That Wednesday night game, I think, is kind of a big deal. That's the one I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. Do you know if they're away or at home?
They are in Denver. That the 3 road games in a row.
Gotcha. I mean, yeah, I think for then all reasons, all purposes, that game is like an interesting one because we've played well on the road so far. But yeah, I mean, you can't like. I feel like I can say that I think the Warriors match up against Denver maybe the best out of most teams in the league, while simultaneously like not trying to compare it to the 2021 Denver team because it's like, yeah, we beat Denver in 2021 in 5, but that was also when they were starting like Austin Rivers and Jermichael Green. Like it's just a completely different team that Denver has. But I still think like, some of Wiggs at his best can be our point of attack against Jamal. Steph can kind of just hide on KCP. Clay can guard Michael Porter Jr. Draymond just will let Aaron Gordon sit on the corner, and then of course double Jokic with Loon on him, and I still think the picture makes sense. So, yeah, but I do think that if you go down like the West and you go down some teams in the East, like maybe the Warriors aren't the second best team in the West, but damn, they might match up against Denver as good as anyone. Maybe them and Minnesota.
So you mentioned that you thought Dallas's start was fraudulent.
Yeah.
The Pelicans,
yeah.
we gave them their only loss. They're going to have issues, it seems, with resting guys all season long.
Zion's already out.
Zion's
Brandon
already
Ingram
resting.
was
Ingram's
out
already
when we
out.
yeah.
The Lakers, I think the Lakers are going to be heard from as long as AD doesn't miss too much time. He's going to miss some time.
Yeah.
But then we have the Clippers. James Harden, Russ, Kawhi, PG. That's a little bit of a. I don't like to use the word circus because that makes it sound not serious. But the way they're going to be covered, I feel, is kind of like a circus.
Yeah, this is it. I mean, they're all starting with Zubac. I have no clue how this is gonna work. But how I mean, Paul George and Kawhi have always been pretty good against us, like historically pretty good against us. So, and then obviously the James history, and then, oh man, this is just a lot of guys who I feel like the Warriors have beat out at the end of it, except for kind of Kawhi. But like they've always kind of been right there, like PG especially, like had really good games against the Warriors. Maybe not in the playoffs. I don't know if we've ever seen him in the playoffs, but in the regular season for sure. Obviously the Harden battles, the Russ battles. Kawhi's gotten our number, but no, I think it'll be really fun to see this.
Yeah, it's a crazy game. Like I know you go to LA, you want to see the Lakers, like that's the thing. But if you ask me, pick a game, go to Staples, see which one you want to see. I kind of would just want to see Clippers Warriors just for the chaos of it all. I don't know. Maybe you just see LeBron because
I just want to see LeBron live once, but
yeah.
Otherwise I would go see the Clippers one.
Well, you got to go see LeBron live. Then you got to get some tickets to the Laker game.
Too expensive, man.
Well, just for one time, you can do.
I don't even like LeBron that much.
I've seen. Have I ever told you the story of when?
Didn't you see him when he was like a rookie?
No, it was like his 3rd year, I think.
Oh, okay.
So is that obviously the old Oracle Oakland Coliseum Arena, and we went and we got there early because we wanted to just see him. So I want to say it was like 2006 maybe. So we go down, warm ups. We go down and we're like pretty low, so we can take some pictures and stuff. And we're just watching them, and then we immediately got booted. They're like, man, the game hasn't started yet. Why are you kicking us back up to our, top level seats already? I don't remember where we sat, but. And then you remember the one time that we were supposed to go see him.
Yeah, when Steph unveiled his shoe. It was the first night he unveiled his shoe. It was against the Cavs with Kyrie.
There was a StubHub code that they had just put out. It was New Year's Day, and it said something to the effect of, buy one, get one free, or here's $50 off. There was something like that. And I was like, okay, when's LeBron coming to town? And so I looked, and it was in January. And I was like, okay, we're going to get these tickets. And literally pushed by for 3 tickets for that game for me, you, and Jay. And within an hour, I think, LeBron says, I'm taking 2 weeks off. I'm exhausted. And I was like, how do you do that? That is like, that's the worst thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And kind of mad. I'm still kind of mad about it. What was that? 2015? Something like that?
That was, yeah. I mean, they met in the finals shortly after, right?
Yeah. So ridiculous stuff there. But all right, let's kind of, I want to talk a little bit more about some of the guys that they have. Draymond is back. He looks healthy. He looks fast. He looks
Just looked really good against the Kings. Looked decent. I feel like against the Pelicans, it was more so like him on Zion that I was kind of interested on, and I feel like he came away with a couple of them, took a charge, but I think he's still got a few ways to go, especially he's still on a minutes restriction. I'm assuming, unless he surpassed that in the Kings game.
it
Felt like he played a lot.
It felt like he came out a little bit before everyone else did. Still,
Yeah,
but still throwing balls away, man. Like, just he's trying to make stuff happen so badly sometimes.
Speaking of, man, Steph last night.
that was just bad.
Like
He was in one of those modes where he's like, okay, I just made a bad play. Now I have to make a great play to make up for it, which turned into another bad play. And he did that like 3 times in a row. But Draymond, so I think it was after yesterday's game against Kings, he said something about last year our chemistry was BS, which is a veiled shot at Jordan Poole without saying Jordan Poole. And then Steve Kerr was asked about that today. And Steve Kerr said something to the effect of, people keep blaming Jordan. Jordan has been great. Not that Steve and Draymond have never not seeing eye to eye. That they've had their disagreements. I feel like it's almost like Draymond just wants people to have his back in this one, and it's like Steve's like, "This one's on you, buddy." And I don't think it's going to be like a thing or anything for the whole year, but I just thought it was so weird that Steve is willing to bring up Jordan's name, Draymond is not, and they both seem on other sides of the fence on this discussion.
Yeah. I mean, most of the comments I saw to Draymond's comment last night was, Draymond saying our chemistry was BS last year, like it wasn't fun to come to work. And a lot of people commented with a picture of, I don't know if you've ever seen this meme, but it's SpongeBob dressed up as a police officer, and he's kind of like has this mischievous look that he's looking for something, and it's a wanted poster behind him of SpongeBob. So it's like him trying to hunt himself, and it's kind of like, Draymond was the reason for the bad chemistry and not wanting. So it's kind of that's what the joke was there. But I mean, I feel like Dre just keeps kicking him while he's down, man. Like Jordan has kept it so hush, and Draymond just cannot keep the kid's name out of his mouth, even though he's not saying Jordan. Like we all know it's about JP. But I see what you're saying. I don't know, man. Like Kerr's like, come on, we're adults. Like,
yeah,
not being so petty to a 22-year-old. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing for me. Draymond's probably like 10 or 11 years older than the guy. It's pretty clear that, maybe Jordan's personality didn't vibe necessarily, but Clay has put Jordan over. Steph publicly has said nice things about Jordan. It's really only Draymond who says negative things without saying his name. So it could be just a Draymond thing, or maybe it's a thing where when the cameras are off, they all kind of dog Jordan, and Draymond's the only one willing to say it to the cameras. I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing, but my hope is that he just kind of puts it in his rear view, and it's just like, okay, like we need to get back to, we need to get back to us. I'm going to put that all behind. But, some people, they need a reason to be frustrated or a reason to be fired up. Just makes that game where Jordan comes here all the more interesting. And we may have to camp out for that one to wait for tickets to come down, because those tickets are too expensive right now.
Have you watched him yet? Like besides the Shackton moments, like have you tried to watch a Wizards game yet?
Every time I pop on the Wizards, he's on the bench.
Yeah, I feel that. Like I haven't gotten to see it either, but man, Mike DeLevy's probably doing jumping jacks that he just not swindled, but I feel like yeah, so far he's come out as the winner on that trade. But I really want Jordan to play well, and so I need to turn it on and actually watch.
All right, last thing before we get out of here, CP. We talked a little bit about the fit from game one. Now he's on the bench. He comes off. He's not even really necessarily the sixth man all the time. He's like sometimes he is, but sometimes Steve Kerr does like these hockey substitutes where like 3 or 4 or 5 guys all come out and a new set come in. But how do you think he's fit in running that second team?
I mean, don't the numbers speak for themselves, right? Like, what was our best unit in the plus minus perspective is a bench unit. Like most of our bench units are in the plus right now, and I feel like he's kind of the guy behind it all. I don't know, and I'm not even entirely sure what it is. Like, I don't know if I should give him all the credit, or it really is just JK and Moody have just flying all over the place, has just done wonders. But I think for me, when it was the Pelicans game and he just started hitting that midi, that I was like, this guy's hit this on us so many times, and now he's finally found it and he's hitting it for us.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to see that more. Maybe the Pelicans game was he was on, so he just did it a ton of times. But there's got to be a way to like him to get that shot more, because I feel like against the Kings he didn't take it, or maybe he took it once. I don't remember him taking any mid-range shots this yesterday's game. So
he took the one from the baseline, his favorite one from the baseline.
Mm-hmm. We need to take like 5 of those a game. So I mean, I think he's been pretty good. I don't know if you can. Do you have any nitpicks against him so far?
The 3-point shooting, kind of like I thought, is not great. I just don't know if he's a high level 3-point shooter anymore. He doesn't really want to take them, which is part of the issue as well. He only takes them near the end of the shot clock, which makes that shot more urgent. So of course, those ones are going to probably have a worse percentage. I wish he would take them a little bit more in the rhythm of the offense rather than always trying to find Steph and Clay. And that may be just him trying to fit in a little bit. And maybe when he gets more comfortable, you'll see him pull a little bit earlier. Defensively, I think he's been really good. Like, he's just a strong defender. He's not going to be chasing all these guys around. And I think having GP on the court with him is going to help that. GP's playing way more than I thought he was going to be. And when I look at that, and when he comes in the game and I look at the lineups, I just go, they're so small. And for whatever reason, with GP, they can make it work.
Yeah.
So those are the only things that I'm a little bit worried about. But
I think my other nitpick actually will be that I feel like, this is a nitpick that's like he hasn't. Maybe it just needs more time, really. But I feel like when him and Saric are in the court at the same time, like the amount of passes he makes specifically to Dario is like triple, quadruple the times I feel like he makes an effort to, maybe not an effort, but just makes passes to everyone else. I want him to build more of a rapport with JK, because I feel like that'll pay dividends down the road. And it's really just like every single possession, it's him and Sarge.
I think it's one of those things where CP just has to look and Sarge goes, oh, okay, I know what he wants and I'm going to go do it.
Yeah.
And then he looks at JK and JK's like, what?
Probably. Yeah.
What do you want me to do? And so he's just like, I think it's a chemistry thing. And some of that, right, is that has to be more of what JK does just instinctively, is to know where to be. Now, what I thought was interesting last night is when they did the zone, and for whatever reason, like you just throw a zone at a very high performing NBA team and we've never seen this before, and they can't do anything. Like for like 2 possessions in a row, the Warriors look like they'd never seen a zone in their life. And then Kuminga's like, oh, I'm just gonna go to the free throw line. Or someone told him, just go to the free throw line.
It was automatic.
And I think he made 1 or 2. He missed 1, but it's like, okay, that is smart. Go there, shoot that shot. It's almost gonna be uncontested. And then you do it again, then it pulls somebody over, then you throw it to the other guy. So, like, it's just that instinctive stuff where sometimes you watch JK and he's just like, oh, you wanted me to be there? Okay, I'm going to go there now. And by that time, it's already, they've already moved on. So
Yeah.
just a little bit more instinctive. Moody as well. I think Moody's more than likely in the right place, but there's still some situations where, and I brought it up already, where Draymond threw that pass out of bounds and he looked at Moody and was like so mad at him. And if you look at Moody, you're like, oh, I think that's Draymond's fault. But I'm sure to Draymond, he's like, dude, I gave you the eyebrow, and when I give you the eyebrow, that means you cut, like that kind of thing. Like they're like I think Moody, the more reps that he gets this year, he's going to be like the one who does that stuff right all the time. Is there anybody else that we need to talk about before we get out of here? Steph is having an all-timer.
Don't they need to fill a roster spot per Slater when they cut Rudy Gay and Magruder? They were at 13, and you can only be at 13 for 2 weeks, for 14 days. When that 14 days
who do you think they bring back?
My guess would be Rudy, but I mean, I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard anything regarding that. So unless Slater got a rule wrong, like this should be coming up really soon.
And yeah, because it's Lester, it's
Jerome Robinson, Usman Garuba, and the G League team.
Those are their two ways.
Those are the 3 2-ways, and the G League team starting up. I think training camps right now. So
they make their way over there. Kajemski and Davis. How many games can they play in the G League?
As many. Doesn't matter.
Oh, so there's no
restriction on them to my knowledge, and I feel like Kajemski will be down there way more than Trace is.
Just play in the G League.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Interesting. Huh.
I don't even know if it's a rookie thing. I think it's just like any player on the team technically can go down and play those games. Because JK and Moody did it a little bit last year, or their second year, right? Or did they not? I can't remember. I feel like they did. I can't remember though. But Wiseman in his 3rd year, he was going down there.
Wiseman may still need to go to the G League. He's not playing at all.
He finally got some run yesterday.
Did he?
But that's because someone was out. Jalen Duren missed a game. So
did he do anything?
No, I think it was like a minus 11.
Oh,
like
God.
10 minutes or something.
Poor JK. I hope when they go to Detroit on Monday, Steph's wearing his JK jersey again. That would be nice.
You mean the JK or Wiseman?
I'm sorry, the Wiseman jersey.
You know who we speak of, like Draymond can't keep Poole's name out of his mouth?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like TK can't keep Wiseman's name out of his mouth in plus minus pods.
TK loves being right about that one.
Yeah, but he wasn't though. But whatever.
He kind of like
he just called it. He called that they didn't like him, or they were looking to move him, right? But TK was just with us as much as he was like, this guy has intangibles. Like,
well, I think his thought was, you can't bring the baby deer with the championship team and expect them to embrace the baby deer. I think that was kind of his take, but that was sort of everybody's wonder about how that was going to happen, how you could do that. But yeah, it's unfortunate. I still root for that guy. He's got to be messed up in the head though. After all,
I'm sure. I wonder if it's like the same thing like Trey Lance too, just messed up in the head.
Trey Lance too. Both pandemic kids.
And next, Joey
drafted.
Bart's next.
Oh man. All right, so yeah, we'll either be back maybe Wednesday night after Nuggets or the next Thursday. Be back talking Warriors. But good start. They have the road games that I mentioned coming up on. No, actually, so this wait, is the Thunder game at home?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so.
Right.
Wait, did you check it? I'm pretty sure it's not.
I'm looking at the schedule and it says it has the Warriors underneath the Thunder, which would tell me that it was it just says versus. It doesn't say at, which is weird. Yeah, I don't know. But the time would make you believe that it was not a home game because it's at 5:00. So I'm guessing it's a road game. So road game, Friday, road game Sunday, Cavs, road game Monday, Pistons, road game Wednesday, Nuggets. So would that be 4 in a row on the road?
That sounds right. I remember we had a lot to open the year.
And then Cavs again. So they might be done with the Cavs. Or they only play the Cavs twice this year?
It should only be all the East teams twice.
Yeah. So they'll be done with these dudes. So, all right. So we will. See, even when I look at, it is the Thunder is away. I don't know why
at OKC
the schedule was like that, but all right, we'll be back next week. Hopefully, still doing well. 4-1, good start. Second to the Mavericks in the West, and Denver as well. Circle that game Wednesday night, Warriors Nuggets. That's going to be the one to watch. All right, for Bri, I am Double G. We'll see you when we see you. Peace out.